Hello class, welcome to the online teaching services of St. Thomas High School, Mahua. Today, I, Richa Parekh, am here to further continue with unit number 4 of Social Science for the students of class 8th. My dear students, in this video, we are going to learn that how the traders became rulers in our nation. Let's start with the chapter. The children were engrossed in reading the story of two cats and a monkey during the recess. On reading this story, Jay and Mitali were making fun of each other. Their class teacher, who was sitting beside them, said, "Children, this too is a policy. The third party takes the advantage of quarrel between the two." The British had expanded their empire in India with such a policy. Jay asked, "Sir, how is that possible?" The class teacher replied, "Let's go to the class and there I will explain you how British came to India and established their rule over Indians." So here we can understand here a teacher along with the students was sitting during the time of recess, and at that time when two persons were making fun of each other, the teacher made them understand that when the two persons are quarreling, the third one always gains. So here we are going to discuss. By the mid of 18th century, the British has started to emerge as a strong power in the Indian political horizon. Do you know that the British came to India only for trade? Initially, they took the permission to trade with Indian states. Then, how did they become the rulers of entire India? My dear students, when the British came to India, they started expanding their power on India. They came to India only for the trade, for the purpose of trade. So, in the beginning, they took the permission to trade with Indian states. But how can the Britishers rule the entire nation? The history of British rule arouses many questions. To serve their economic interest, they increased their political hold on India with the use of British diplomatic tactics. That means that in order to rule the entire nation, first of all, they studied each and every pattern which the Indian rulers used to follow, and later, with their various policies, they started expanding their rule in India. Let's see the very first policy, that is Wellesley's policy of expansion. When Wellesley came to India as the Governor General, cutthroat competition existed between England and France. It was necessary to check France from becoming powerful in India. So as to expand the British rule in India, Wellesley introduced a new plan which was known as subsidiary alliance. So during the time when Britishers came to India, we already discussed in the unit number 1 that French people were also in competition to establish their rule. So in order to avoid such situation, the Governor General of Britishers named Wellesley introduced a new plan which was known as subsidiary alliance. We are going to study in detail what was subsidiary alliance. As per the scheme, any princely state that accepted the alliance had to keep and maintain the British army as well as keep a British representative in a royal court. That means as per the policy of subsidiary alliance, the states, the princely states, that means the particular region which is covered by a particular king, has to maintain the British army as well as keep a British representative in the royal court. That means those people have to look after the British army. That means they have to provide each and every basic necessity things to the British army which they provide to their own forces, and also they have to keep the British representative in the royal court whenever they are making any changes in the rules or the systems of the particular state. This way, the British could maintain their army without spending any money. So, the British should not spend any single rupee in order to maintain their army. However, the princely states were not allowed to utilize the army at their own will. That means after accepting this policy of subsidiary alliance, the kings were not allowed to use the army at their own will. That means they have to seek the permission of the Britishers even before using their own army. This system, which made them feel secure in the beginning, made them feel enslaved and threatened. So at the beginning, when this policy was accepted by those princely states, they used to feel that their kingdom is getting secured. But later, when various policies of the Britishers started working on them, that means the cost of the British army was maintained by the Indian rulers, and later when they have to seek the permission of the Britishers for using their own army forces, they feel enslaved and threatened. Subsidiary alliance acted like a slow poison for the princely states of India. The Indian states that became victim of subsidiary alliance were Hyderabad, Mysore, Ayodhya, Jodhpur, Gaikwads of Varodras and Peshwas of Pune and Sikandis of Gwalior. So the states which accepted these policies were as under. They were Hyderabad, Mysore, Ayodhya, Gaikwads, Peshwas of Pune and Sikandis of Gwalior. The Nizam of Hyderabad was the very first victim of Wellesley's subsidiary alliance. Then it was Mysore and Ayodhya. That means the first person who became the victim of subsidiary alliance was Nizam of Hyderabad. Later it was followed by Mysore and Ayodhya. Tanjore and Karnataka met with the same fate. That means they have to also surrender their states to the British. The British made Marathas fight among themselves and consequently made them accept the subsidiary alliance. That means, dear students, the quote which we came across in the beginning of the chapter, that means when the two persons quarrel, the third gains. The same policy was used by the Britishers, that they made Marathas fight among themselves and hence at last forced them to accept the policy of subsidiary alliance. Owing to the losses incurred by Nizam in his fight with Marathas, he was the first to accept this alliance. Tipu Sultan of Mysore refused to do so, but after the British victory in the 4th Anglo-Mysore War, Mysore was forced to become a subsidiary state. Maratha chiefs fought among themselves after the death of Nana Fadnavis. One by one, all the Maratha states became the victim of divide and rule policy of British. Other states, namely Ayodhya, Gorakhpur, Tanjore, Karnataka, Farrukhabad, also suffered from the same fate. In this way, within the span of 7 years, Wellesley expanded their company rule and made British the supreme power in India. Hence, at last, with this policy of divide and rule, he used to make the kings or the Peshwas to fight among themselves and establish their rule in the princely state. So, within the span of 7 years, almost each and every state was under this policy of expansion. Dear students, here we are at the end of this video, and in the next class we are going to discuss about the expansion of British rule in India and the policy of annexation. Till then, stay at your home and stay safe. Thank you.